nobody wins when the family feels.
My name is Duane Williams. I was wrongfully convicted of felony murder, which is first-degree murder, second-degree murder, and arson. I was in prison 12 years, and I was released June 18th, 2024. There was a fire at a house. I was there earlier in the evening, but I left. Maybe 7 months later, I was at my sister-in-law's house where I was staying, and the police basically came in and arrested me, and I had no idea what for. And when the detective started talking, when he started talking to me, he told me it was about the fire. The narrative that the prosecutor told, none of it was true. So I basically sat in the courtroom and listened to all these people, including the prosecutor, tell a story about stuff that never happened.
They lied about the fact that the fire was set as opposed to accidental. There was no arson. No one burnt down this house. It was an accidental fire that, unfortunately, there were 2 deaths. Duane did not cause this fire.
Fam, today I got some of my most proud work on this platform. I was able to chop it up with the man who looked like me and you, but was sent to jail for 12 years almost of his life for something he didn't do. Now, at the time he got sentenced, he was told by a judge he was given life. Can you imagine your mindset hearing you're about to get life for a crime you didn't do? But then it get deeper. Imagine going to trial knowing you're innocent, but because you don't have the funds to get legal representation, the state won 50% of the war already. But fam, knowing you innocent and still getting life. Can you imagine how many people like this man we're about to talk to in this video is in jail for something they didn't do? And quite frankly, it's tough to even get some justice. Stay away. Because then you talk about compensation, mental, stuff that's priceless. Like memories with your family, your health. Most of the time the state don't want to pay out. But that's where we at today. Today we talk about this man and shine light on his story. But before we go over this one, I want you guys to remember, I won't give you no angle, I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll jump right to it. A man who was convicted of a brutal double murder that he had no role in spent 12 years in prison. All because the testimony of one man and the investigator who has other high-profile wrongful convictions. Fam, meet Duane Williams. On August 20th, 2012, his life would change forever. Williams got a call from his sister. His mom's living boyfriend was found deceased, and his stepson, who we'll later identify in the interview, may they both rest in peace. Now, authorities was blaming Mr. Williams. Long story short, he was charged with both murders. The house was burnt down. Now, this incident happened on Detroit's west side, on Fielding Street, just after 6 a.m. The 67-year-old man and the 42-year-old stepson were found unresponsive in the bedroom. Family members and friends at the scene said the two didn't make it. They identified themselves as 67-year-old Bobby Cross and 42-year-old Daryl Sims. May they both rest in peace. Once again, a level of condolences to their families. His girlfriend, who was Duane's mom, she had just left out for work when a fire broke out. One witness said a neighbor grabbed a garden hose and tried to put the fire out, but there was no way they can get in. The house was fully involved in 10 to 15 minutes. And all because of a janky drug dealer who sold DVDs got pulled over. Duane was charged 7 months later. Check out the interview.
With the Family TV, who do we have a privilege of speaking with today?
Hey, this Duane Williams.
Duane, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm actually doing wonderful right now. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Getting ready for the holidays. Where we in it right now?
Right. Christmas coming up right around the corner now.
For sure. So, man, I wanted to definitely, it's an honor to speak to you. I wanted to shine light on your story. You're a man who unfortunately had to spend, what was it, 12 years in prison?
Yeah, just almost 12.
Almost 12.
Almost
12, right?
Well, actually, if you count jail time, a little bit over 12. So
it's unfortunate. Your story is crazy, man. I can only imagine it's one of many stories like this, but fortunately, we're gonna be able to shine light on yours. He was falsely accused.
Correct.
Of a crime, and it seemed like proper investigation wasn't done, and you had to spend 12 years in prison. Now, before we really go over that, I really want to get the audience to get to know you a little bit. If you could tell them where you from, And how it was for you growing up?
Without a doubt, without a doubt. I'm from a neighborhood on the west side of Detroit called Brightmoor. Growing up, like back in the day, Brightmoor was like, I guess it was not a suburb, but it wasn't a lot of black people in the neighborhood. So my family was some of the first black people to move into that neighborhood. And as time went on, the neighborhood turned into being all black, and the neighborhood ended up getting like really ran down as years went on, especially like really when crack came in and all of that, because the neighborhood is on the edge of Detroit. You get all of the people coming into the city to buy drugs, and because our neighborhood is the first neighborhood they get to, and they don't want to go all the way into the city, it's a lot of drugs. So, I grew up like anybody else, basically in the city or a town, of a nice size in America, and growing up kind of in the hood. It was unfortunate, you know what I'm saying, that's how I grew up, because I ended up going into like juvenile facilities and a lot of different things like that. Right. But the only thing about that is, even those bad things, now I've learned from all of that stuff. Right. So I hate that I had to go through it, but it was a lesson to be learned.
Right. That's a beautiful thing to take away. It's a beautiful thing to take away. Now, 2012, how old was you?
I was 42.
42. August 20th, 2012. You got a call from your sister. What was that call?
Basically, what my sister was telling me was that it was a fire at my mother's house, and she was saying that some people had passed in that fire. So I was shocked. First of all, I was shocked. But, well, like I kind of, when somebody tell you something like that, you kind of think, she playing, but then I had to think about, like, why would she play like that? So as the conversation went on, I knew she wasn't playing. So I eventually verified that it was true, and now I wasn't there. So just imagine, and when I'm talking to my sister, she telling me that the police got my picture and all kind of people saying I did this. Now, I'm from Detroit, and the Detroit police ain't never been, I guess you'll say, up to par when it comes to investigations and how they do things. So I'm not fitting to go nowhere near the police right now till I figure out what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I'm really trying to figure out how I was somewhere left there and something happened and you saying I ain't even been there. So I need to get somewhere. First of all, I need to just figure out what's going on. So once I found out. Go ahead.
No. I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead. I want to ask you, because I know you're going to talk about once you find out about the call, but I want the audience to know that the two people you was referring to is your mom at the time, live-in boyfriend, who was a 67-year-old man named Bobby Cross, and his stepson, 42-year-old Daryl Sams. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, and they was both mysteriously dead in a house fire.
Right.
And where was that located?
It was on the west side of Detroit.
Okay, on the west
side of Detroit. Yeah.
Okay. So you got that call. You been accused. Your sister let you know that the police got your picture, and they want to look for you. Continue. My fault.
Right. Okay, you all right. So I'm trying to. I finally get as much details as I can get, because everybody kind of panicky or whatever. So I just kind of like sit back, and they telling me that the police want to talk to me, and I'm telling them that I didn't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Why do they want to talk to me? And eventually, what happens is that they say that they figure out that it was accidental, and so now everything is as far as I'm concerned, is over with. Now they're not calling me no more. They're not saying that they need me to come down there and talk to them. They see that it was an accident, and they leave me alone, basically.
Got you. And according to reports, the night of the fire, you had got into an argument with Cross?
No, see, I'm glad you asked me that, because we gonna have to certain things that came out in the news by inadvertently. I know it wasn't intentional, and I know where it came from. It came from court documents, but we getting some things cleared up. No, me and him didn't have any argument. We didn't have any problem at all. That's a theory that was put out there by the prosecution. Like when I say that a lot of people in my trial got on the stand and said things that wasn't true, well, this is the theory that the prosecution put out, that me and him had an argument. Now, the reason that got reported is because somebody looked at those documents, the prosecution's and the police documents. Well, there was never an argument. This is part of the lie that I went through in trial, that all these people are testifying to something that never even happened. And so just imagine how I feel when I'm sitting here and I'm listening and I know what happened, but they on the stand telling a whole different story. And it's like blowing my mind, you know. So especially when you got a police report, it can only say so much. But when a person on the stand, they can say a lot. So now these stories, now I'm hearing the stories that go with the stories. You know what I'm saying? Because it was crazy. So, but I just want to clear that up. That no, me and him did not have any argument.
Right. Okay. And for the audience concerned, the statement that was mentioned was apparently you said it never happened, but they said y'all got into an argument and Cross pulled a shotgun. He said Cross threatened to kill him if he didn't leave. So you went to a friend's house in Downriver. And then
that's not like I said, the part about him pulling the gun on me, that's not true. That never happened.
Okay.
That's the story that the police and the prosecution, that's the false narrative that they pushed throughout my trial to get me convicted.
Got you. Another statement was mentioned was by the neighbors.
Okay.
Who related to the victim.
Exactly.
Told police about the heated alcohol feud argument.
Exactly. And I'm not laughing about the situation, because it's a serious situation and two people lost their lives, and I feel bad that happened, but I wasn't responsible for it. And the question that you asking and what you're talking about, it kind of goes into what I'm saying about this narrative that got pushed that was untrue.
Got you. Apparently, that was from one of the victim's mother, who even voiced fear that her son could be responsible.
Oh, no. See, that's another thing. You hitting everything good. We're actually, for real, you hitting everything good. What actually happened with that was, just imagine showing up somewhere and you panicked and everybody's telling you that Jeff from around the corner was just over here and did this. You don't know what happened. Right. You just getting there. You in a panic situation, and all these people telling you this. So now, if somebody was to walk up to you and ask you what happened, you might say, "Well, I don't know. I think Jeff from around the corner did something," because that's what all these people just told you when you just pulled up, panic. You ain't even had a chance to figure out what's going on, and it's a lot happening. Well, that's exactly what happened with that situation. But they again. It was twisted around to make it look like it was my mother, to make it look like my mother said that she thought that I did it. But if you get the court transcripts and read, when you get the court transcripts and read, you'll see that she said on the stand that she didn't say that. And they kind of, when she said that they twisted her words, she means the content, or I guess, I don't know, context. Right. Right. She was saying it in the way that I just explained to you. And she pulled up, panicked, and everybody was like telling her what happened or whatever. And when somebody asked her, she was like, she was just repeating what they were saying to her. She hadn't even had a chance to find out what was going on. So she never like made an intentional statement saying she thought I did it. It was something that came out of her mouth, out of the way in which I just explained.
Wow. So, at the time, investigators didn't suspect arson, right? They found no foul play. There was no evidence. According to the reports, it was caused as undetermined. And the medical examiner ruled their deaths as accidental, caused by smoke inhaling. So now, for 7 months, you thought, cool, they know what happened. You can go on about your life. I know it's unfortunate. I can only imagine what you was going through at the time, especially your mom. But 7 months later, you get called in. And
Well,
you get arrested for art.
I don't exactly get caught in. I got the U.S. Marshals, you know what I'm saying, coming to get me. But, and then now since this the family TV, I'm gonna give y'all something else too. You know what I'm saying? This you don't hear about a lot, but to tell you the truth, actually, the guy who lied on me, he called me the day before I got arrested and told me that he lied on me. So the guy who was working for the police called me and told me. So he working for supposedly working for them and helping them, but telling me to run from them, which I had no reason to run because I didn't do anything. And I know that me and him had never talked about this situation regarding the fire. So, I mean, I wasn't even thinking about that with him. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't tell me why he was saying to leave. He just told me wherever you at, whoever you with, leave right now. But to be totally honest, me and him had just had a conversation before that about drugs. Now, I didn't have any drugs, so I wasn't worried about that. But I would have never connected him to talking about anything about that because we never conversated about it. You know what I'm saying? But this guy actually tried to tell me to leave. I didn't leave because I ain't do anything. I ain't had no drugs. So what I'm going to leave for? And the next morning, the next afternoon, the U.S. Marshals running my house and arrested me. And I don't know what it's for, and they ain't telling me.
I'm going to take it a step further, fam. And you could say if it's him or not. It was a man named Gary Jennings, right? He was pulled over while on probation. Yeah. He was arrested for selling DVDs, smoking pot, and driving without a license. He came up with a story that it seemed, helps push him off free. And apparently that story had claimed that you confessed to setting the house on fire. Right.
And that's what I'm saying. And me and him never even talked about that situation. You know what I'm saying? So now, another thing. Well, I just say this because I done said a lot, so I'm gonna just say this. He had connections to the family too. You know what I'm saying? And so he used information that he got from them and said that it came from me, which is why he didn't know any details, which was my problem from the beginning. When you watch shows on TV, and they talk about, okay, well, this guy came across with some information, and they'll say something like, well, he gave us details only the killer would know, or only the perpetrator would know. This guy don't know nothing. He don't know nothing. Anybody could have said what he said, and you took my whole life, which is a whole nother story because you gotta start talking about the police we was dealing with, but
Yeah, and we definitely gonna get to that because they gotta get for sure. Now, apparently, his quote-unquote motive that he said you gave was over rent money.
Right, right. Which again is something that is a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale. When you in court, they let the prosecutors basically they'll say it. The nice word they use is a theory. So now, but it's a fairy tale. It's something that a story that the prosecutor made up to make the jury sympathize with the prosecution, or to enhance their story, or to make it sound better. This is again something that never happened.
Now, fam, I want to make sure I'm firm when I mention what we about to talk about now, because so many people look like us can be in this very same situation.
Exactly.
You know you innocent, so you taking it to trial. But fam, you unfortunately at the time you got to get a court-appointed lawyer.
Right.
And that shifts everything. Whether you innocent. But unfortunately, how the system is put up against us, despite even we even getting about the police investigation, which we're gonna get to next, we talking about a man having to take the trial, knowing he innocent, but because he got a court-appointed lawyer, that shifts everything. Can you tell us a little bit about your trial experience, how long it lasted, and when you knew in your gut you had a decision in your head?
Okay. My trial, people in the jury expressed the fact that some of them, before the trial started, that they were self-employed, didn't want the trial to be too long, and so it was scheduled to last 2 to 3 days. We were still there like 2.5 weeks later. So basically, as far as the trial went, I guess from my perspective, like I said, hearing people tell stories that didn't happen and watching how the prosecution put those stories together, it was crazy. And I actually turned my chair around and stopped listening. And I'm like, and I mean, more people were getting on the stand and coming up with more stories that I'd never heard of. And my lawyer, he ain't really listening to me. So I just turned my back. Because it ain't no reason for me to listen to this. I'm not about to sit here and listen to these people making up stories and talking about stuff that didn't happen. So it was mind blowing to me. And when you talk about court-appointed attorneys, we don't talk about the police investigation, but when you an attorney is appointed to represent you, he's supposed to do what's in your best interest. You know what I'm saying? His job is to also conduct an investigation, because how can you represent you properly without conducting an investigation? So my attorney never conducted an investigation. He actually told me that he didn't want to talk to any of the people who he needed to talk to, which blew my mind. But people was telling me and my family to keep him because he was a good lawyer. Now, I ain't no hater, and I ain't gonna be funny. He did some things that helped me be able to prove that I was innocent later on. Just the way he started to cross-examine the witnesses, and he was real direct with them, and he was he wasn't playing no games with them in that particular moment. But if he would have did everything else, then all the puzzles would have fit in place. When I actually watched happen was during the trial, when he saw that so many people had so many stories that just didn't make sense, I actually saw the moment when he realized that, oh, this guy been telling me the truth the whole time, and the lies coming from somewhere else. But by then, it was too late, because he didn't do everything that he was supposed to do. So that's just one thing I want people to take out of that when you have an attorney in the criminal civil case, but we talking about in a criminal situation, that attorney's supposed to conduct the investigation into the situation so he can represent you properly, you know?
Fact. So, fam, now we about to get to these investigators. Do you remember any of their names?
Yeah, I do.
You don't want to mention?
But, yeah.
Okay, say less. Well, this is how we're going to do it. At the end of the day, it was no physical evidence. The only evidence they had was the victim's family and friends pointing the finger at you. Correct?
Right, exactly. And well, I guess the guy who lied on me, we can count him as family and friends too. So yeah, correct.
And at the end of the day, fam, despite, you said it was a little under 12 and a little over if you count the county. Fam, at the end of the day, after 2.5 weeks, you had a guilty verdict that you thought you was going to spend the rest of your life in prison as an innocent man. What's going through your head?
Man, really what was going through my head was my family, my mama. But what happened was they ended up suddenly changing my date, my sentencing date. So it wasn't a lot of people there. My wife was there, but something just the night before I got sentenced, something told me you gonna get the natural life was automatic for first-degree murder in Michigan. So in my mind, I was like, you gonna get natural life, a 20 to 40, and a 10 to 20. And that's what I had in my mind. That's what I told my wife. Nobody had talked to me, no lawyers, no nothing. This is what I figured I was going to get. And it's exactly what I got, which was weird, but that made it easy for me to deal with. But my thing was really that I didn't want the people who were there, who knew what they did to me. I didn't want them to think that. I wanted them to understand that I was okay because I know that I didn't do this. I know what y'all just did to me. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of like breaking down or losing my composure because this is what you're trying to do to me. You intentionally taking my life. So in my mind, I felt like that, I just didn't want to give them the satisfaction thinking that they did that to me and broke me down. So the only thing I really said in my sentencing was that, that people that came in the courtroom and lied on me. I asked to hug my wife. They let me do that. Like I said, I was concerned about her. She was crying. So I had to be strong for the people who was there. But it was wild, though. It was wild.
Now, fam, one of the mountain evidence to showcase your innocence was a missing lighter.
Yeah.
Right. It was a Zippo style lighter, right? Found near the couch where the fire started.
Right.
Now, the Lieutenant McNulty, according to public reports, public reports, never mentioned any smoking materials in his final fire report or when he testified for the prosecution.
That's right.
Now, it wasn't until 3 years later. Now, it seemed not only didn't you not give them the satisfaction because, you went straight to work by going, to the law library?
Yeah, ain't no doubt. Not exactly straight to work, because I ain't gonna lie, I was upset.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I got off into a little bit of prison stuff for a quick second, but I started paying the guy to do my only because I was mad though. But I started paying the guy to do my law work, and he basically jacked off my whole appeals. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I can't let this happen. I got to, and I see what he's doing. So then I pulled my transcripts out, read all my transcripts, and from then on it was the law library.
So it was another sergeant who, by the name of Russell.
Yeah.
When you started to now, first and foremost, let me slow down. I want the audience to stay on track. Fam, when you found out about the lighter, did you also found out that it was 58 pictures from the fire scene? Of course, you already knew about the false confessions.
Right.
But at what time did you know that it was more materials in regards to your case that was uncovered?
It was between 2018 and 2021. I started getting the FOIA requests back, and my lawyers were getting them back, and they were sending me what they was getting. And I just happened to look one day. It's a report. The report that I had that they gave was the author report. That in the real report, they so similar, and there's so many pages that I might read 3 or 4 pages and be like, okay, it's it. I was looking one day like, hold on, wait a minute. And I told my lawyer, like, whoa, wait, look at this. And it was something about a lighter. And just like you said, you was correct. The fire investigator, he got on the stand and testified. There was no smoking materials found. He can guarantee that it wasn't no smoking. Now remember, this is the same guy who months earlier said, hey, the investigation was undetermined accident. You know what I'm saying? This is the same guy. Now he on the stand, and what he doing is he making his testimony fit somebody who was guilty, but because the facts didn't fit it, it was shaky. Well, not really shaky. I'm going to be honest. You had to lie to try and make everything fit, and that's what he did. He said that he didn't find the lighter with no smoking materials. He lied about some other things, about where the victims might have been, and other things like, I want to say this. He also lied about what people told him regarding the smoking habits of the victims too. You know what I'm saying? So people would tell him one thing about where the victims might have smoked, but he got on the stand and said they said something different to basically make the situation look worse, or to lean it in the prosecution's favor.
And for the audience who don't know, my FOIA request is a Freedom of Information Act, which is key, right? That allows you to be able to obtain, if you're not involved in the case have to be over. That allows you to be able to obtain all interactions you had with law enforcement as a taxpaying citizen. Now, in 2018, at that point, it's how many years since you've been in?
5.
5 years. And you finally get your FOIA request documents. And then, boom, start uncovering even more troubling details. Now, crazy because Sergeant Russell had a history of falsifying evidence. He was the same detective who ultimately got a conviction for a man named Devontae Sanford, who spent almost a decade in prison for quadruple murder he didn't commit when he was just 14 years old.
Yeah, that's right, 14. Yeah.
14, fam. Now,
that's crazy, ain't it?
Able to stay on track because when I say God work in mysterious ways, fam, if you wouldn't have went what you went through, not only for yourself you fought, but you help uncover this.
Yeah.
You know, when did you know, fam, you might got to fight and coming home?
Well, when I saw how the system worked, when I saw that, okay, my appeals keep getting knocked down because my court-appointed attorney, appeals attorney didn't do nothing. And then this guy I paid just really messed me up. I saw when they kept shooting me down, and I'm in prison looking like, man, this could be it. This guy has been here 30, 40, 50 years. These people not playing. So basically, I just kept pushing, and because they set me up, that's what happened. Because they set me up, and I didn't do it, and because I think really what happened was, I think that they possibly have done this so much that they just got sloppy, and they didn't try and cover their tracks, which is a blessing for me. I always feel like God laid these things out for me to find. You know what I'm saying? But they just did it sloppy, and so in my mind, I think that they were so used to doing it that because they don't expect anybody to come back and look. And I want to say this right quick, Wayne County and all the other places around the country with CIU units, these conviction integrity units, they make a difference. They get to the bottom of things. So I just want to put that in there because it really helped me get out quicker.
Now, fam, we shine light on the people in a negative way who deserved it. It's time to shine some positive light.
Okay.
Shia Bayham. Am I saying the name right?
Shia Baum.
Shia Baum, who founded the nonprofit Firefly Advocates, which provides legal and social services to inmates. Bayham has been helping to fight wrongful convictions after witnessing a flawed court system firsthand. Now, did you know last spring this organization was going to take your case?
Probably last spring. We was or a little before that. We was talking. We was in initial talks, but by the time it was time for me to get out, I knew that they was gonna help me because they basically put me out, but they vacated my case, not dismissed it, which meant that I was basically still charged for it, but it was pre-trial, so I needed legal counsel. So they had already agreed to provide me with legal counsel, and I just didn't know how good of an organization Firefly was. So I didn't understand that it was a lot more that would come with it besides them getting me legal representation, and also just the people there. The people there are genuine, and they do this because they care. So Shia is like him and Doris Houchins, they like the best people ever. And everybody there, I love them all. They like the best. Me and my wife love them.
Also, we want to shine light on Judge Bradley Cobb, who apparently agreed that saying that the state failed to disclose evidence that supported Williams' innocence. And he also said that the state and the Wayne County prosecutor quickly decided not to retry the case.
Right. I like to thank Judge Cobb for doing what was right. That's like I was saying, that I wasn't even expecting to get out the day I went to court. My attorney, Maya Millo, State Appellate Defender's Office, like the best in the world too. She was telling me that I was gonna go to the county jail. And but Judge Cobb, after he saw the facts and he had reviewed the facts, and the head of the conviction integrity unit actually let her know that usually in cases when she come into court and asks the court to dismiss cases, she lays out all of the misconduct on the record. But she let the judge know that there was so much misconduct in my case that it was impossible for her to lay it all out on the record. So I thank him for doing the right thing and seeing what the truth was and freeing me the day that he freed me.
Absolutely. Now, for those who wondering, Sergeant Michael Russell, he ended up retiring in 2020, correct?
Yeah.
So I know people was wondering what happened to him. There you have it with that. Now, October 17, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
What was that day for you?
Man, that day was that was like my either second or third day because they kept pushing it back like 2 or 3 weeks. But it was incredible. I thought, because I had been out for a few months by that point, I thought that I would be able to like control myself. But when I heard that judge say that the case was dismissed, and I heard what the prosecutor said, a noise came out of me. Like, I don't even know where it came from. And I you standing in court, you got to stand at the little podium. I'm standing there. Next thing I know, I'm like 3 steps away, just like the emotion of it all. To hear that finally, okay, I've been out for a few months, but now this thing is over with. Man, it was like unbelievable. I can't explain like the emotion of it.
I can only imagine. I'm smiling through the phone talking to you, man. I can only imagine. Now, as we wrap up, and it was an honor just to have this conversation with you.
I appreciate it so much.
I appreciate you, fam. Knowing what you went through, right? Like we said probably in the middle of the interview, fam, we can only imagine people just like you, just like the 14-year-old, and many more who not even been heard. You think moving forward, you'll try your best to look at cases similar to yours?
I got to. I get calls nonstop from guys I know who's in prison. And I know some guys who got some heck of a stories and who shouldn't be in prison. You know what I'm saying? But I wrote a lot of letters. I reached out to people. I ran back like I was in the music. You know what I'm saying? The T-Pain brother manage me. And so I'm like networking and connecting to people. That's like a gift that God gave me. Mm-hmm. So I was writing letters to everybody. And when people would respond, I would get a lot of good responses. And I was able to build a team, almost like a dream team, to help get me out. But other people don't have that. You know what I'm saying? So I got to be that for them. And it's guys who watch me do what I do. It's guys who watch me go through this for years. And so now they inspire and they motivated. So it's only right that I get some of them.
So let's do one better favor, fam. If it's one advice you can give somebody that's in prison, falsely accused, or a family member who knows someone that's falsely accused, what's one good advice you would give them right now that they can take in throughout their journey?
God is the greatest, and never give up, because I know a guy who I think his situation was questionable, but he would always tell me that I'm just sitting back and waiting. God gonna get me out. And I know that faith without works is dead. And I ain't saying that miracles don't happen and he ain't gonna get out. And maybe he right, but you gotta work though. You gotta put in the work. Because nobody else gonna do it for you. The system, they got a lot of departments and organizations, and when you look from the outside looking in, it look like anybody in a situation like mine, you would say, well, he can go there, he can go there, he can go there. But when you in the system, all of those departments and organizations don't work. So they're almost like fronts. You know what I'm saying? You don't got no body to help you. You got to save your own life. So forget basketball, forget gambling, forget all that you're doing. Your life and being with your family and the people you love and being out here in the world and being able to accomplish whatever it is you were meant to accomplish. You got to get up and get back out there, and you better do it, you know? That's the advice I would give.
Oh, man. That's... God, man, you hit it on the nose, fam. That's God the biggest. Fam, I appreciate this, man. If it's people that want to reach out, is it a way they can reach out to you? Email, anything.
My email is Williams. Let me see, what is it? It's WilliamsDuane44@gmail.com. And I got to do this. I hate to do it, but I got to do it because the funny laws in Michigan, I'm not able to get the speediest compensation for what I just went through that would have been available to me because the laws didn't need to be changed. Right. So, hey, what is that? Spotify. Oh yeah, so we got a page, Justice for Duane Williams, on Spot Fund. I think that's what it is.
Okay.
So if anybody,
I'm gonna make sure I leave the link in the bio, in the description for people to go check it out. Man, if you want to support, please feel free to do so. Fam, once again, I thank you for your time. I thank you for this interview. I hope we can stay in touch, man, and I pray you have a fruitful rest of your journey, man. And I'm wishing you and your family nothing but love and a happy holidays.
Okay, hey, and the same reciprocated back to you. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all giving me this opportunity, especially to clear some things up. And I'm glad this is the place I got to do with that. So
I appreciate that, fam. I appreciate that, man. Have a good one. You know, feel free to reach out anytime.
Oh, for sure. You ain't got to worry about that. I'm at you.
Okay, fam.
Very, very unfortunate situation. As more developed, I keep you guys updated. Fam, I hope you enjoyed the interview as much as I did getting the interview. It's a touchy situation, and I'm just happy this man is able to come home and live life. Hopefully, in the near future, he's compensated well for it, and, you know, many people can learn from this situation. Once again, rest in peace to both victims. Love and condolences to you guys' families. Fam, talk to me in the comments. This was the story of a Detroit man who was incarcerated for a little less than 12 years for double murder, a crime he didn't do. Talk to me in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until then, I'll catch you guys on the next one.